Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pen to Paper. I'm Leah Lindman, author of the Canadian Reminiscence series. And today we have Madeline Nixon, and we're going to be talking about specifically her book, Not Actually, but she does have a Valentine's Day anthology coming up, and she does have two other books that she can mention as well. But Not Actually, I'm Not Actually is the most recent one, correct? Like it just came
Yeah,
out
yeah.
last fall. Yeah, that's right.
November.
Okay, November. Okay, perfect. So tell us a little bit about yourself. One fun fact would be fun to know about you, and then we'll
Okay.
get into what Not Actually is all about.
Yep. Trying to think like what's fun about me.
I'm sure
um,
there's one thing.
I'm Madeline. Oh, okay, fun. Madeline, I was named after the little French girl, the books and shows and movies about her.
Yes.
My sister named me after her. So that's a fun fact. Um,
Oh, that's cute.
um I'm from Ontario. I'm the author of 3 adult books. I've also done 14 educational kids books, um,
Hmm.
which is through my work. I'm an editor as well. And yeah, I've been writing since I was a kid. I went to school for writing.
Hmm.
Um, that's
So how
that's
how how young? How young were you when you started writing? Like when did the fire catch?
okay, I think like professionally, like I thought that I could do this. That was high school.
Okay.
My English teacher in grade 9, we had to do an assignment where we read a short story, and then we had to write a story based on that short story. So I
Oh,
did that, and she like pulled me aside after class and was like, "Well, you should seriously consider pursuing this one day." So
wow.
that was like my intro into that. And then I did. I went to university and studied professional writing. So
Okay. That's amazing. And now you have, well, 14 kids books. That's quite a lot. And then
yes, yeah.
three
And then
adult
these
books plus the anthology that's coming out.
is it upside down? Yes.
Amazing.
There we go.
Yeah, you're great at really beautifying your work on Instagram. I follow you there, and just you're always putting stuff out, and it's great. You're really on
I
top of
try.
that.
I know the pretty pictures do well.
Yes, yes, they do. And you're good at
Yeah.
it, so that's good. So tell us
Thank you.
about Not Actually, which sounds a lot like a movie we probably all know. What was the idea and inspiration behind
So not actually is so this was my first romance was Emergency Lullabies. And
that?
in that there's a scene where the main character's at a library, like a kids program at the library, and it gets kind of derailed when another kid has an allergic reaction, and the nanny's kind of frantic about that with the kid. So when I was going through edits of Emergency Lullabies, I read that scene and I was like, okay, there's a story here.
No
Um
way. That's
so
so cool
I
to know.
yeah, I just went from there off on a tangent, and then I wrote Not Actually, which is Zoe's story.
Yeah.
And that was that started that way. And then I like wasn't sure what I was going to call it. Titles always come to me last, sometimes very last moment, like
Oh,
not great at
really?
titles. And I was talking to my mom, and um I feel like it was around Christmas that she said this, and she was like, "Oh, um what if you like did a pun on Love Actually, and it was something like Not Actually, like just a funny
Mm-hmm.
thing." So I thought about that, and then I added a part in Not Actually where they're watching Love Actually, and she starts talking about like all the the funny little terrible interesting things in Love Actually that maybe aren't about love but kind of are,
Mm,
but are kind of like mm, cringy love
yeah.
story moments. Like Alan Rickman cheating on Emma Thompson. Wow, I couldn't remember her name for a
Yeah.
second. Yeah, just those things. So then that scene came into my mind and kind of like shaped different parts of the book,
Yeah.
like an airport scene, and
Mm.
the cards switching.
Yes. So it's funny. I know your book is kind of, a pun off of that. And I couldn't remember for the life of me most of the story of Love Actually. Only the card scene where he's flipping the cards. That's the
I
only
feel
thing
like
I
that's
remember
the
from the
most famous
movie.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember really enjoying that scene. So now, after I've read your book, it makes me want to go actually watch the movie and kind of remember what it was like. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's good. It's a good comparison.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm so stoked to find out that it came from Emergency Lullabies, like that
Yeah.
the beginning of the concept. So, are you planning to do more books kind of interconnected? Like, is this going to be part of a loose series
Yeah,
or?
yeah. Like a
Okay.
loose, interconnected sort of thing.
Yeah.
There is a third one in the works,
Okay.
and
That's
that
exciting.
you have met that character. Oh
Oh.
shoot.
What is the interruption there? No, I'm
It's the
joking.
doorbell. Okay, hold on. I have to
Oh,
get
yeah,
that
yeah.
because I'm,
Okay.
I'm the only one.
That's
Hold on.
fine. All right, people watching, she will be back.
Live TV.
That's right.
Oh, where you want to call or something? Yeah, I'm sorry. No worries.
So my regular interruptions would be kids, but Madeline's is a doorbell. So hey,
Yeah. I was just getting the door for my sister.
oh, that's nice. So tell us about some of the characters in Not Actually, and what was your approach to developing these characters? Do you have a favorite one that you dislike the most? Tell us about the characters.
Um, hmm. So main characters are Zoe and Kieran.
Hmm.
Um, they're like the couple.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. The inspiration for like the first part was from Emergency Lullabies.
Hmm.
Um, and Zoe just kind of came to me when I was reading that part, and I was like, okay, something's
Hmm.
going on here that would have pulled her away from the kid. Um, I need to figure out what that is. And it
Yeah.
felt like a bit messy. There's
Mm.
something messy going on here. Um, so that's how she kind of came to be and was like, I mean, I'm not, I'm just going to use messy again. She's kind
Yes.
of a messy person. She's like spontaneous. She doesn't think before she does stuff a lot.
Hmm.
But I mean, there's a reason for it. She's had a lot of, I mean, I don't want to like spoil a lot, but she's like,
No, no.
she's had a rougher childhood.
Yeah.
Her mom's kind of favoring her brother. So that
Hmm.
affects how she grew up and how she makes decisions.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And my like where she starts in the book, she loses her place to live, her boyfriend, and then her job. And that's
Hmm.
where everything kind of starts. And she moves in with her brother and his wife. And then Kieran, the brother's best friend, comes back into her life, and she's kind of,
Trope number one.
yeah, she's been like in love with him since they had a New Year's kiss several years
Mm.
ago.
Yeah. And then it all just goes from
Yeah.
there. You
And
find
then it
out,
just
yeah,
spirals
you
from there.
find out how they reignite, re-spark, I guess, and
Yeah.
and I guess learn what they maybe really thought of each other all those years that they weren't together. No, it
Yep.
was it was a great book. You did such a great job of
Thank you.
um, yeah, the pacing was perfect. The tension between the two of them, it wasn't overdone. It was
Yeah.
natural, but it was also very like, okay, I want to find out what's happening. It was great. Like I really, really enjoyed the book. So thank you for
Yeah.
writing it.
They
Yeah.
were fun to write, I think, because they had so much history together, so you could do, like, all the bantering and the inside jokes
Yeah.
from so long ago, so that was a
Hmm.
lot of fun.
Yeah. So would you say that's probably the strongest part of their chemistry is the banter, the jokes, the
I think so, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's
I
what
would
I've heard from readers, so I would
yes.
agree.
Yeah, yeah, I would say that too. Was there probably a part or something about the book that was more difficult to write than the rest?
Um, there was a scene that took me, like, a week and a half to write,
Oh,
and
really?
I'm not gonna say what it is because it's right at the end. Not right at
Oh,
the end, but
yeah.
it's just before the end.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that's a spoiler. Even though I would
Mm.
love to use it to market, but
Yeah.
um, but yeah, no, it took me a while to figure out how to get that part right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah, I've gone through a few scenes myself where you're just slogging through it and then maybe you
Mhm.
take a few days here on and off to not do it because you just don't want to push yourself to do it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
painful.
I was thinking you
Yeah,
wanna get
yeah.
the words down, but you want the right words, but are they?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess, when you have a first draft, that's part of doing first draft, right? Is you just
Yeah,
write down even if it's terrible, and then you can always go back and revisit it however many times you want. How
exactly.
many times did you have to edit this book, would you say?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Okay.
A fair
A few
amount.
times.
Like,
Yeah.
it flowed pretty well. I feel
Hmm.
like I did not have as much, edits with this one as I did with the first one. Like,
Okay.
the Emergency Lullabies was my first foray into romance, and then
Mm.
this one was a lot smoother, and this
Yeah.
one was like, "Okay, yeah, no, I have my footing. I know what I'm doing here. This feels right."
Yeah. Did you have to deal with imposter syndrome or writer's block, like even with your second book, even if you written, Emergency Lullabies was your first? So did you have to kind of deal with that at all with the second one?
Um, I feel like okay, so my first book is, Feathers, but
Yeah.
that's totally
Oh, that's
different.
right.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's completely different. It's short stories. So
Hmm.
it's not a novel, which is I got out of university after publishing that and I wrote something that has still not seen the light of day.
Oh,
Um
okay.
that's was kind of maybe it'll find a home someday.
Mm.
But like that took me uh like almost 3 years to finish.
The
Um
Feathers.
No, Feathers
Oh,
was
Emergency
the thing
Lullabies.
after Feathers, which was
Oh,
my
okay.
first novel,
Yes, got it.
um,
Okay.
which, like, it was a jump from short stories,
Hmm.
um, but yeah, that took a while trying to figure out how to do that, like, I finished it, during the pandemic after I, did NaNoWriMo for the
Hmm.
first time,
Okay.
um, and it took a while to get into the groove, carve out the time to do it. Um,
Hmm.
so I feel like that's where I struggled the most with my writing and like
Okay.
figuring out who I was, what I was
Yeah.
doing.
And would you say that process helped you figure that out?
Yeah, I think so. I
That's great.
feel
Yeah.
like for the most part I'm okay, but then there's days that you have where you're like, I am
Hmm.
the worst writer in the world.
Aw.
But
When you're in
mostly
that
I'm good.
moment,
Yeah. Oh,
what do you do to help yourself? For other writers who are going to be listening to this and they're like, oh, I deal with that a lot. Like,
yeah,
what's
I
your
feel like you
tool
just
that
have
you
to
use?
keep pushing through
Hmm.
because if you just stay in that moment and you just keep thinking like, "Oh, this is terrible, I'm the worst,"
Yeah.
you're stuck. You don't get any further, and you just have to keep, like, I know it's the cliche advice, but you just have to keep, ooh, you just have to keep writing. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
because if you don't, there's nothing on the page.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't get any better without putting more words down.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's true. It's a very well-known advice, but it's told so many times because it's the truth, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, that's so that was Emergency Lullabies, the not actually. What got you into romance? Because you said Feathers. Now, is Feathers romance short stories or is it more
Feathers
it's
is
mystery,
ghost
right?
stories. They're ghost
Ghost
stories.
stories. Okay,
Yeah.
so like what happened there? What's the jump between ghost stories and
Um
romance?
I I mean, I've always loved reading romance. There's
Hmm.
just, like, and like watching TV, I've always had like the couples that I root for, you know.
Yeah.
Um like there's just something about romance that I feel like is a driving force that people just they come back to. They're like, "Oh yes, I want this love story. I want to believe that things end happily."
Mm,
Um so I always came back to it when I was writing just stories in general. There always tends to be some sort of romantic thread through it,
yeah.
even when it's not strictly genre romance.
Hmm.
So I feel like it wasn't, I mean, it's a jump from ghost stories, but it wasn't like, as a person, I feel like it's not a jump.
Okay.
Um,
Because I mean, you have romance ghost stories,
oh yeah, oh there,
right?
yeah,
So,
paranormal
yeah.
romance. Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, have you written that or would you like to write a story
I
like
have
that at some
not
point?
written, sorry, I haven't
Oh, that's
written a
okay.
ghost, like the love interest being a ghost, but I
Okay.
did just finish a romance involving ghost hunters.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And that it's just like a work that's been done and
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
okay, but you haven't.
I like literally last week just finished writing it.
That sounds incredible. I want to read this now.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a title?
Yes, actually I do.
Oh, okay. This is really exciting. You should
No, I
definitely
know,
put this
like
out.
that's one of the only things that I've written where I like fully had a title right away.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, because you have a harder time with
Yeah.
titles.
Yeah.
That's really, really neat. So there's that project. Now tell us a little bit about Hearts. It's Heart's Lock Love's Key, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
Valentine's anthology. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that
Yeah.
because that's coming
So
out. Is it up for pre-order yet?
it's up for pre-order, the ebook.
Okay.
Anywhere you can get ebooks, it's up for pre-order.
Yeah.
And then the paperback's available on February 3rd.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So
if you
it's
want to read
you.
some Valentine's Day stories.
Now, does yours have a certain trope or a
Yes.
premise that you can like whet our appetites with a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine is a snowed in enemies to lovers story.
Oh my goodness, this
Yeah.
sounds perfect.
It's the
Well,
first
first of
time
all,
I've
I
ever done
love
enemies
enemies
to
to
lovers.
lovers.
I love enemies to lovers. It's one
Yes,
of my favorite
same.
tropes.
Hmm.
I've never tried it until now, but it was a lot of fun.
Okay, okay. Yeah, no, that's my favorite trope. And Snowden, I do appreciate that trope as well. It's a
Yeah.
lot of fun. And it's
Yeah.
are all the stories or your story like centered around Valentine's Day and
Yeah.
that holiday? Okay.
Yeah. All of the stories have something to do with Valentine's Day. So
Hmm.
most of
And they
them it
all, oh,
takes
sorry, go
place
ahead.
then. Sorry.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they all have a lock and a key. Is that correct?
Yes, they do.
Okay,
Some of them
that's
are more
really a
subtle
neat
than others,
concept.
but there is a lock and a key in each story.
Okay. That's really cool. Have you ever, I don't know how much you've traveled, but have you ever been to that bridge where they have all those locks? I don't know where it
Um,
is now. Is
it's
it in France?
Paris.
Paris,
There might be others.
exactly.
There's like a variation of that in Toronto in the Distillery District. But
Is?
yeah, there's a love lock wall as
Oh,
far as I
that's so
know.
cool.
I have seen it,
Okay.
not in person, but I've seen it on social media. So, but yeah,
Oh,
no,
that's neat.
the bridges in Paris,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
which I
Okay.
haven't
Well,
been to,
now
but I'd love
now I
to go.
gotta check out this wall in Toronto. That would be a lot of fun to see that, our Canadian version.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So what kind of inspiration or encouragement can you give to writers who are starting out for the first time, or maybe they have one book under their belt, but they're working on their second and they're slogging through it? Like, what helps? What are a
Yeah.
few tips that get you through, or inspire you, or encourage you?
I would say, um, listen to how you're feeling.
Hmm.
Write when you want to write. Don't write when you don't want to write.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know there's a lot of advice that's like push through and write every day. Um, and it works for some people, but it doesn't work for others. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like get to know yourself, get to know what works best for you in your writing,
Yeah.
and keep doing that. If it's
Yeah.
working for you, keep doing that. If it's not, try out whatever tip you've seen and
Hmm.
get to a place where something is working for you. Um, Also talk to other writers. That's like a really big one.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
yeah, because you're like it's an isolating kind of profession that we've chosen. Like you're just there with a screen and a keyboard, it's just you. Um, so it's lonely sometimes. So
Hmm.
finding friends that also write has been really uplifting. Um,
Mm-hmm.
which is also how I got into the anthology that I'm part of.
Okay.
Um, it was a group of writing friends that we were just like, what if we did this? And we did.
There you go.
Um, so I feel like it's inspiring to be around people who also want to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Um, and social media is really good at bringing you closer to people who want to do the same thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've experienced that, I'd say probably a lot in the last year and a half.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
Just,
Same time span.
yeah, like a huge growth, especially on Instagram, I find, because I find out of all the platforms, that's probably the strongest platform for readers and authors that I've
Hmm.
noticed. I could
Yeah.
be wrong. I know YouTube is actually pretty strong too when it comes to readers, booktubers, and there are a few author tubers too.
Hmm.
I would say probably they're on par, just maybe different types, or just different audiences, but they're there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been really neat to connect, with you, with
Yeah.
so many other writers. And now I have, like on my personal text messages, I have two authors, we're best buds, and we're just constantly updating each other,
Oh, I
asking
love
each
that.
other questions, right? About like, hey, what are you doing for marketing? Or what do you think of this
Yeah.
idea? Or like, I just finished my novella. Like, I'm so excited. And they're
Yeah,
just there to
exactly.
cheer you on, right? They're just, or you don't even have to have them on personal text, but you can have them on Instagram, and you're just
Yeah.
constantly going back and forth.
Yeah,
And
no,
if
it's
you could
nice to have
have
the
it in
back and forth.
person too,
Yeah.
that would be great too. Yeah. And I would encourage people, find, there's probably a local community, like in your community,
Yeah.
there's probably a local group of writers. You just either have to find them, or if they're not there, make one yourself, like
Yeah.
start one
Yeah,
up,
that's what I
right?
was gonna
Because
say.
there's so many people that want to write, or they're curious about writing, but they
Exactly.
haven't been encouraged, or they just don't know how to go about it. So be a leader and start it up. So
Yeah. I feel like there's
yeah.
a way to like involve your library too. That seems like the most
Yes.
logical place.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have not done that, but I feel like it would be a good area to try to do that because like they have the
yeah.
space, they got the bookish people, like
Hmm. You should definitely do that, because we have a local writers group that I go to. So we do the first Monday of every month at 6:30, and we're usually, I'd say, 5 to 6 people every month.
it's
Sometimes
a good
more,
group. Yeah.
odd times less. But yeah, and we do it at the library. So if there's not one at your library, Madeline, you're going to be the leader. You're going to
The
start it up.
2025 project.
There you go.
Another one.
I know. I thought I was just doing my novella this year, and it turns out I'm throwing in an anthology with a friend.
Yeah.
Just kind of got the idea. And we're like, yep, let's do this. So
Yep.
yeah,
It's
exactly. So
always
what
how
are
it
your
begins.
plans for 2025? You got the anthology. That's the first part.
I do, yeah. That's the very first thing. Starting
Yeah.
it off with a bang.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a novella coming probably June. Um,
Okay.
yeah. I wrote it last summer. It's a
Oh.
Christmas novella, so I'm thinking like Christmas in July.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, have it out for that, and then also obviously market it later in the year. But
yeah, of course.
um, Christmas in July seems fun. And
Yeah,
it's just like
for sure.
it's cozy, it's witchy, um,
Okay.
and it's a romance. So it's
Okay.
fun.
And what tropes do you have in that one?
It's a small town.
Okay.
Friends to lovers, little
Hmm.
bit of a second chance.
Okay.
And then
Nice.
obviously magic.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a very the magic is going to be an interesting side twist to that because I
Yeah.
don't yeah, I
I've
don't
never
really come
done that,
across
but
those,
a
right?
friend of mine 2 Christmases ago was just like, I want a witchy Christmas book and I can't find any. So I was like, okay, I'll put it on the list of things to do. And then it hit me last summer.
Really? Yeah, it's true. I really haven't come across that. You see a lot of like rom-coms, right?
Yeah.
Of just
So
normal
many.
Christmas, but yeah, not that twist. I've seen murder mystery,
I have seen a lot
cozy
of those
Christmas.
lately. That's fun.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm curious to read one. I haven't read one yet, but I'd like to. That's something
I read
I'd like to try.
what was that? Most Wonderful Crime of the Year. I read that
Oh,
in
okay,
December. That was fun. It's a romance, but it's also a mystery.
okay.
So it's a fun combination.
Yeah, yeah, and I love the title. It's a
Yes,
great
that's
play
what
on
got me.
words for sure. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, Zoe and Kieran, back to them. If you
Okay.
could pick, if you can pick any two actors to play your love interest, you never know. Like maybe it will go to screen, right? Is that something you would want?
I have always thought about like how cool it would be to have your work turned into like a TV show or a movie. It
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be exactly, it never is exactly, but I mean, I still feel
No.
like it would be pretty cool to see it.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Um, I don't know who I would pick. I like when I was thinking about the characters and like drafting them in my head, Kieran kind of looks like early 2000s Hugh Dancy.
Really?
Yeah. So
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
I
I can
love
see
him.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like obviously he does not look like that anymore, so I don't know who I'd pick for
Oh, he
him.
doesn't? Oh no, that's a crime. I
I
haven't
mean,
lived.
he does, but yeah, he doesn't have like the flippy hair anymore, and
Oh no, yeah.
he looks. I feel like he's almost 50 now. He's like mid
Yeah.
40s, I think. So he
Okay.
looks older than my character would be.
Yeah, I know it's true. I've picked characters for all my books. So, I mentioned to you my Halifax Explosion book, Redeemed from the
Yeah.
Ashes, and that one came out 8 years ago. And I had characters in mind, and I'm like, yeah, the guys are definitely older now, so it
Yeah.
wouldn't work
Yeah.
out. But if I could freeze them in time, when I was writing,
Exactly. Yes.
that's who it would be. Yeah, so Hugh Dancy, like Ella Enchanted, right? That's what you're
Yes.
thinking?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can see that for sure. So let's just pick him out of that movie and stick him in yours.
Exactly. Yeah. And then yeah,
Yeah.
Zoe, I was thinking Haley Lou Richardson. She's
Haley Richardson. What
she
is she
okay.
in?
She was in a season of The White Lotus, I think the second one.
Oh,
She's
yes, yes, yes. I know what you're
in
talking about.
yeah, 5 Feet Apart,
Yep.
Unpregnant. There's something else. She's in like a bunch of YA book adaptations.
Yeah, so the second season of White Lotus, she is the young girl who's like the helper. right? She's taking care of the older lady. Is that
I
it? Or
think
she's
so. I
someone's
haven't seen it. I
assistant or
just know she's
admin
in
or
it.
something. Okay, okay. Well, yes, I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking about now. Yes, I could. Yes, she would be a perfect
Yeah.
actress for that part. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
she
cool.
she she would also work because she still looks like, I mean, she is in her 20s, I think. She might be in her early 30s. I don't know. But she looks around, 28 is Zoe, how old she is in the book. So she looks around
Okay.
that. So she could actually work.
Yeah, yeah, she could. That would work it really well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you've got lots of exciting projects coming up this year.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, everyone, I'm going to put down on a comment, I'm going to put your Instagram. So it's marked with
With an M.
with an M. All right, so go ahead and follow Madeline to keep up to date with all her works there.
Yeah.
And where else can people find you?
I am I'm marked with an M everywhere, pretty much.
Okay.
So I'm on Threads, Blue Sky, Twitter,
Okay.
but I haven't really posted there in a while.
Yeah.
TikTok, Facebook, you can search my name, Madeline Nixon, and I come up. I'm
Hmm.
also on Pinterest.
Okay.
I think
Oh,
that's
yes,
everywhere I am.
Pinterest.
Yeah.
I've been trying out Pinterest too. Just seeing how what kind of traction I get there.
Yeah, it's
X,
interesting.
yeah. Do you like what do you find interesting about that
I
social
mean,
media
I've
platform
always
for writers?
I've been on Pinterest since I was a teenager, just like
Okay.
for fun. And then
Yeah.
last year, I heard more like authors getting into it and being like, "Oh yeah, you can get traction here."
Hmm.
Um, which so it's been interesting to like convert into I don't know if it's a business or creator account there, whatever it is, but it's been interesting to see like the stats of how your pins do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I did take it was like a training, right, on Pinterest. And
Mhm.
they were saying that, how, let's say on Instagram, your post lasts 24 hours. On X, it's like 18 minutes, kind of, and then it basically goes into the nether sphere and you never see it again. They were saying that for
Yeah.
pins, it's like 4 to 5 months. So
Yeah.
your pin
Yeah.
can come up. So I was like,
Because it's just
well,
how it
that's pretty
spreads.
cool.
Like it keeps coming up. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
So
yeah,
okay, and you
it's an
find it's been
interesting sort
working
of
for you.
algorithm there. Sorry, what?
Yeah. You find it's been working
I
for you
talked at the
then?
same time.
That's fine. Do you find that it's been working for you there on Pinterest?
I feel like I still haven't quite figured out
Hmm.
how to make it work, but I mean it I've seen growth.
Yes.
So it I don't know, I've just had fun there.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's same thing. I'm just dipping my toes into it right
Yeah.
now and
Yeah.
hopefully kind of put out a little bit more there and see what happens. So stay tuned to see if it actually works. And for Twitter X, I mean, I do post there, but I find there's not a lot of
Yeah.
readers, authors, like maybe some authors, but not a ton of reader presence there.
Yeah.
It's
I d
really more of like a news platform at this point, which is fine.
yeah.
I mean, it has its place, right? But yeah. Do you
Yeah.
find the
There's
same
been like
thing?
a shift in Twitter X over the
Yeah.
last like 2 years.
Hmm.
It used to have more like interaction and stuff, but I've seen it go down.
Yeah.
Uh,
Or at least for our community
yeah,
specifically. So that's
yeah,
why I was saying like Instagram, YouTube, even Facebook
yeah,
a little bit. The community is more alive there. So
yeah. I mean, there's
yeah.
a lot of Facebook groups still. Like,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, for
so that's
sure.
useful.
Yeah. For sure. Well, do you want to leave the viewers with one last message, either about your book or, yeah.
That's so much pressure. I don't know what I want to say to leave.
Well, why don't you share your book again?
Okay, here are these
Because,
books. These
guys, it's
two.
really good. I haven't read Emergency Lullabies, but I've read Not Actually, and you got to read it. It's not solely a Christmas book, although I did read it during
Yeah.
Christmas. But there is
I
Christmas in there, isn't
Yeah,
it?
there is Christmas. I feel like
Yeah.
it's a seasonal book, but like you can
Do
read
you?
it any time
Okay.
of year. But it's like
Yeah.
it takes place from September to December, so you got like all the holidays smashed in there.
Oh yes, that's true.
Yeah.
And the nickname that he has for Zoe
Oh yeah.
is seasonal,
Pumpkin.
which
Yeah, that's
yeah,
season.
pumpkin. Yeah, I loved it actually because my parents called me that when I was younger. It's now
That's
gone
cute.
from pumpkin to punk. So, which I kind of like. It
That
suits
is
my
fun. That's fun.
personality. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yes, everyone, please go check out Madeline's Emergency Lullabies, Not Actually, and Feathers if you
Yeah,
like
there's yeah.
ghost stories. I actually
And
really
Heart
love ghost
Key.
stories. Sorry.
And Heart. Oh gosh, that's a mouthful to say.
Oh
Heart
yes,
Sloth
Hearts.
Loves Key.
That's right, which is coming up, and it's perfect for Valentine's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love ghost stories. I actually I don't know if you've been to those like ghost walks. I'm
Oh yeah,
sure
I've done a
Toronto
lot of
has
them.
one, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I go to all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, they're fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
Feathers, they're true stories. They're my ghost stories.
What?
Yeah.
No. How many stories do you have in there?
22.
Oh my goodness, that's freaky. Okay, so you've
Oh
gone
yeah,
through a
I
lot.
have a lot.
Oh my goodness. Do you still go through that?
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm writing a that's my other 2025 project. I'm writing a sequel of sorts to Feathers with more ghost stories.
And they're all yours.
That yeah,
Oh my
all happened to
goodness.
me.
This is terrible. This is terrifying.
I have many layers.
Yeah, I can see that. Man, that's a lot for like one book. How many are in the second book?
Um 30.
Oh my goodness. You poor girl. Okay, I gotta read this.
I mean, I do it to myself sometimes. It's like
Hmm.
I'll specifically go to haunted places. It's fun.
I mean, I go to haunted places too, but it seems the only time I ever felt something was at a local jail. So I live near Cornwall.
Ooh,
So I went to the Cornwall jail and I didn't see anything. And they were talking about like how these ghost hunters come in and this
yeah.
specific room, this is where they
Yeah,
get the
yeah, I've
presents.
seen
I'm
that.
like, sure, sure, you know. And that was like the guard's house beside the jail. And I didn't feel anything there. But literally, as soon as I walked over the threshold into the jail, it was this crazy, like, pre- almost like a dampening blanket sound. Like, just
Yeah.
everything was
Ooh,
dampened, and you could feel the weight of all the lives that lived
yeah,
there. And
yeah.
there was, you
Oh,
could
I've had
tell
that,
there
yeah.
was like, not, I don't know if it was maybe presences in
Mhm.
that
It's just, like,
place, right?
heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, very heavy. And I actually just realized that's the one thing I always remember, but I did also feel that in Scotland at this Catholic church at the top of like this hill, this mini
Interesting.
town. Same thing. I went in there, but this, they had buried someone there with his
Yeah,
heart and his
yeah.
family. And then you go in and there's this casket lying there.
Oh
Like,
my
what?
gosh. Yeah. I felt that, at the Commando, monument in Scotland. Just, like, very,
Commando
very
Monument.
sad, very, heavy.
Hmm.
It's a war monument, like, to
Okay.
soldiers that have fallen.
Where is that exactly in Scotland?
It's
Like,
in the Highlands somewhere.
okay,
I'm not
okay.
quite sure where. It was on a bus trip that we did to, Loch Ness. So it's
Oh,
somewhere
yes.
between Edinburgh and Loch Ness. I can't remember
Okay.
exactly.
Wow. Okay. I'm so glad to know that you've gone to Scotland because I'm obsessed.
Yeah. Oh my god, I love Scotland.
And I know the dream for me is to own a vacation home there one day and then
Oh,
like every 2 months of the year go live there and then,
yeah. Oh,
rent it
I
out the
would
rest
do
of the
that in a
time.
heartbeat.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, this has been fun. We've been talking about your book, then we went into ghost stories and then into Scotland, and that's how it goes. That's how it rolls here
These
sometimes.
rolls.
But it's been really great having you on, Madeline. And
Yeah.
as I said, everyone please check out Madeline. Go follow her. She does romance and ghost stories.
Yep,
Another
that's me.
coming up.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. And yeah, that's it, everyone. Have a great evening. Well, it's evening for us, but whenever you watch this, have a wonderful day, week, and we'll be back with more author interviews.
Bye.